Want to know what's in this bag? They're individually frozen little segments of preserved basil with a little bit of chicken stock. You want to know how I did it? Stay tuned. Hi everyone, this is Natasha. As you can see, I have a lot of basil in front of me. I have harvested the rest of the basil in the garden before more buggies get to them. As you can see, that's a no-go. So I grabbed I'm going to show you how I save it for off-season because I love having fresh basil and I don't want this to go to waste, but there's a way you can preserve it. Now, my husband's not a huge fan of pesto, although I am, but I do use basil in other recipes, so I thought I would preserve it frozen with a little bit of chicken stock. That way I can add a little bit to create a pan sauce, or to start a soup, or to add it to a spaghetti sauce. So I already have some basil leaves in water, so I'm grabbed my salad spinner and I'm going to wash and rinse and spin it dry. So as you can see, I have a lot of water in there. So I'm going to pick all the leaves off, drop them in there, and then spin it to wash them, and I'll be back to show you once I have washed and dried them, and then we'll put them in the food processor. So there you go, that's a lot of leaves. I have it in there, so I'm going to pop on my spinner top. There you go. And wash it. Then I'll take the water out. You don't want to spin too fast because you'll get water everywhere. You can also let them soak in a sink full of water. I just figured since I already had this, I'll just do that. So I'm going to go empty the water out and I'll show you once it's spun. Okay, so I think it's now spun dry, and I can, yep, see how it, like a centrifuge. So it's nice and dry, there's water at the bottom. So I'm gonna pull out my food processor and pulse this with a little bit of chicken stock. Okay, so in the bowl of my food processor, I have just about all of the leaves. I just want to pulse them first. It's gonna get loud. Uh-oh, something's not aligned. Now I can add the rest of the leaves, and then I'm going to add chicken stock, which I have in a pour spout measuring cup to make it easier on myself to see if because I'm not going to need an entire can, and it's the chicken stock that I picked up the other day at Walgreens. So yeah, there's a hermetic seal, so let's do that. So I've pulsed what looked like a lot of basil in my food processor with about, I would say about a cup of the chicken broth, and it's the Butterball fat-free, 99% fat-free that I picked up at Walgreens for 50 cents. And I'm just going to scrape down the sides because I definitely want this well incorporated. So I'm going to pulse one more time. And this is pretty timely because basil leaves will turn brown, so I want to do this pretty quickly. So I'll be back as soon as I process it to the consistency that I like. Okay, I think I'm happy with the consistency. I don't want it to be baby food. I definitely want to see the leaves, which is exactly what I see here. And it's incorporated with chicken stock instead of water. You could do it with water, you could do it with olive oil. I think chicken stock will be a nice neutral base. So now I'm going to hopefully make my life easier and put it back into the measuring cup and then fill up my mini muffin pan and pop that in the freezer because, to be honest, I don't have any ice cube trays. But you could certainly do it in that. So I'll be right back to show you what it looks like in the little trays. There you are. They're in the mini muffin pans, and it didn't fill up the whole one, but that's fine. That's more than enough. It's going to carry me through quite a few meals. And what I did is I just used a tablespoon, just a simple tablespoon, to scoop out of my measuring cup. Now I did add the rest of that chicken stock, which I probably should not have, so I didn't put all the liquid in. It looks like there's plenty of liquid to solid ratio for them to freeze nicely without crumbling when I pull them out, because once they set up, once they freeze, I'm going to take them out and put them in probably snack Ziploc bags, because then I could fit a couple in each one. I don't need to be taking out the entire bag full of them to thaw out every time I need to use one. So what I'll do is I'll portion them to a little snack bag, because it looks like they'll fit nicely and zip up, and then I'll put all of those little bags into another freezer bag to store in the freezer. So I'm going to pop this in. Well, first I have to make a flat space in my freezer in order to make them level. Now I don't fill them higher than the rims, because solids expand when it freezes. It expands, so you don't want it to be all, well, I guess it doesn't really matter, but it's just easier to put them just shy of the rim line. So there you go. And some of the foaminess you see, it's just so happened that right after that was the top after I ran, pulsed them in the food processor. So that's pretty easy. You can use the same technique for preserving parsley. I am going to see how I can preserve my mint. I would really like to make a mint extract. I know I need vodka for that, but no vodka in this. Now the only other thing that I think I might do next time is squeeze a little bit of lemon to keep the acidulation down, or it's turning that brown, the moment oxygen hits it once you break the leaves. But I don't really mind. I might do a little squeeze of lemon over each one of these before I pop them in the freezer. So I'll show you what they look like once they're frozen and they are packed for storage. As you can see, they're nice and frozen. So what I did is I happen to have the oven on. I'm warming something up. So I've just left them on here for just a few minutes. Let's see if they move. Yep, they're just thawing out. So I'm gonna put a paper plate over them and invert them so I don't have to scratch my non-stick. And then I'll put them in the little bags and in a larger bag. They're all out. I've already started putting them in the individual bags and then in the big hefty freezer bag. And I have to do this pretty quickly because they'll start to melt otherwise, and I don't need no green goo. So I'm going to get this finished off. That's it. I'm going to store them. I would definitely label them because I don't want Polly to think that these are tartlets or brownies. Can you imagine biting into it and thinking it's a brownie? That would be a nasty surprise. So there you go. I preserved all of my basil, and I will share with you the next time I go to use it after the season. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to thumbs up.